Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Faceless Labs. Today, we are talking about decentralized social media. There are a lot of hot narratives this crypto cycle, from blockchain gaming to decentralized physical infrastructure to meme tokens. And decentralized social, it's been around for a minute, but what does it even mean? And is there actual stuff you can do here? Is there a benefit to using blockchain for social media? We're going to get into it today. The TLDR is we think so. And then, after a quick discussion about why it matters, we're going to show you some of the social media products we're using today that you can start checking out absolutely free to bring your social media life on chain and own what is yours online. So, Alex, let's get right into it. What is the value of blockchain for social media? Or maybe what problems does it solve for people who are using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok right now?
I think it's a good question, of course. One of the things that we always try to look at, right, is, okay, if we're going to add blockchain to something, if we're going to add tokens to something, how do we know that it actually matters, it actually means something? And of course, Evan and I will constantly make the case that if adding a token does not enrich somebody's life somehow, perhaps we should investigate not doing that. Just because we launch way too many tokens, if we're being honest, right?
Yeah, and most of them are the unhelpful number go up kind.
Right. And I think that decentralized social media is a really, really good example of the other kind of token, the not necessarily number go up token. Of course, we can always tuck that in the back of our mind and hope that number go up, but I'm very curious to start seeing more things launch where that is not like the main driving incentive. And I think that social media plays a good role in that. And I think my couple big examples would be something that we talk about a lot if we're defining what is Web3, right? So to recap, in case you didn't see that video, although we do have a way better breakdown of this in more detail. Web 1, read only. Web 2, we started being able to write and post our own stuff. And now in Web 3, we would like to retain ownership of the stuff that we write. Social media is one of the biggest offenders of you as the creator sharing something of value from yourself and having someone else get to own it and profit from it. I think one example probably at the forefront of most people's minds would be someone, let's say a digital artist, sharing their sharing their artwork on something like Instagram, and knowing that Meta then retains the rights to then reuse that artwork in some other form. And you can actually open yourself up to a bit of a legal struggle if you try to take that stuff back from a big company like that. So using something like a token to mark things that you share, things that you post, an NFT here in this case, to mark your individual pieces of artwork could be a great way for the creator to get to retain some ownership over the stuff they post. A photographer or a painter or something like that shares a piece of artwork on social media and keep ownership of it in token form. Another cool one would just be using them as like an inherent native on platform tipping service, which we'll get into a great example of that here with one of our demos. Those are just the first two I think that come to mind. I don't know if you have anything to add there, Evan, but
man, I would just piggyback on it to say one of the real problems right now is that we only think of tokens as number go up, representations of dollars and cents. But blockchain, we're talking about the ability to integrate smart contracts, like pieces of code that can execute themselves and replace the terms and conditions that Facebook sets, that you don't have any power to negotiate. You don't own any of it. That can replace that. The ability to sign something cryptographically, so that if somebody is impersonating you online, the protocol or the people following them can instantly know that even though this looks like Evan's profile picture, it's like the ultimate blue check mark. My signature is not attached to that post, and it won't be something people have to know cryptography to understand. They'll just see effortlessly, errorlessly, that one is authentic and one is not. Also, the ability to, as you said, own what's yours online. It sucks that my followers on TikTok, your followers on TikTok, these people we've worked to build relationships with, when we open a Twitter account, we got to talk to them and try to reach them all over again. If those are represented by cryptographic tokens, if the relationship is, we say, on chain, then it's not owned by Twitter. It's not subject to their terms and conditions. I can take it with me. So what I'm excited about is this possibility with social media and with all things that is here for the first time because of blockchain, that because the networks are decentralized, they are not owned by central actors. They can finally be owned by the people who use them and make the value on them, secured by signatures, by tokens, by smart contracts. I just think that's something that, even if you don't like being on social media, you can recognize is a problem that we need to solve, and that blockchain is well positioned to do it. So that's what I think. Man. I think if you're on that page, great, keep watching, and if you're not, feel free to scroll away. But you're definitely going to want to check this out because you're still early to these opportunities. We got some websites to share with people, right? Some tools to show them.
Yeah, I think let's just roll into a couple different examples here, and just note too that more of these are coming out on a regular basis, and so these are some of the tools we have now, but we're excited to see more ways that this kind of stuff can be used, more ways to exemplify digital autonomy as an individual using the internet. So we're going to Warpcast first, right? Can I set the table real quick for it while you pull it up?
Please do. Warpcast is an app. It is a client built on top of a protocol, Farcaster. A helpful way to think of this is that Instagram and Facebook are apps owned by Meta, or your favorite dApp is built on top of the Ethereum network. So Farcaster is the protocol, and Warpcast is the client. It happens to be built by the same team that launched Farcaster. And it's meant to be sort of a Twitter clone. As you look at it, I guess it's over on this side, isn't it? You can see it's got that feed structure you're used to with a text-based profile where people can embed images and stuff. But what's interesting is that your profile, your followers, your posts are on-chain. And this allows you to, if the network goes down, if it starts doing something you don't like, you, because you own your private key, can take it with you. And the other benefit that I think is really great for Warpcast, because other people have tried to do this kind of thing before, is not only the user experience that people love and are familiar with, but is this sort of gradual spectrumized decentralization. Alex, you talk about this all the time, where nothing is entirely centralized or decentralized, and not everybody wants things that are just one way or the other. Warpcast is nice because you care about owning your stuff, you're a true crypto native, you want to do everything on chain, you can do that. But you also can start using it with an email and a password, the way most internet users are familiar with using things like Twitter. There's password recovery, for example, for people who choose that. A lot of choice, a lot of consent. And I'm going to throw a podcast in the description that we love, Unchained. They have a great interview with the founder, Dan Romero, where he goes into this in detail. But Alex, do you want to comment on the user experience and tell people kind of what they're looking at here, or add anything else to that bit?
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty well. I would echo what you said, that using Warpcast for me feels very much like using Twitter, or the app formerly known as Twitter. And
sorry, Elon.
I felt like I did not have to learn a whole bunch of crazy new things to start kind of messing around on Warpcast, which was really nice because I've definitely tried a couple other. I'm trying to remember, Evan, maybe you remember the name of this thing. There was a decentralized social media from years ago. I assume it's still live. I should open it up and see if I can find it. I think it was called Torum, Torum.
I recognize it.
I was among the first wave of people to make a platform over there, and there were some really cool tools and things that were happening over there, but I felt like you had to learn a whole new platform to start, and that sort of like made it a little bit more difficult to get started. And if you're busy, you don't have time to do all that sort of thing, that sort of hurdle will keep users out. So I liked that about Warpcast, that I did not feel like I had to go back to school to learn how to use something brand new. I could just be like, oh, I've used Twitter, boom, done, I got it. So in that sense, lots of similar things, liking and reposting and commenting and bookmarking and that sort of stuff. And then, like Evan started to talk about too, I'm not logged in here, so it's not going to show, but there's another little feature here called Actions. And there's all these like native little programs that are built into Warpcast that other developers build and add to the platform that you can turn on here and enable, and then you can do other things. Evan, I don't know if you wanted to touch on Actions a little bit more.
Let me segue into frames by way of saying first, like we said earlier, Farcaster is the base layer. It is the protocol. It is the open network that the users anywhere can look at, they can pick on, they can contribute to. Go ahead.
Can I just say, we're throwing around a lot of terms that you might not have heard before. So one of the best ways that I can think to just make that make sense if we just compare it to the things that we're all used to. So Evan's talking about Farcaster, which for this conversation, you can consider very similar to Android or Apple. And that's the thing that's hosting all this stuff. So Warpcast is an app on Farcaster the same way that Twitter has an app on Android and iOS.
Excellently said. Thank you very much for doing that. And the important thing here is that the base layer, unlike Android or unlike Apple, totally open. And so what's happened is in this ecosystem, the team built Warpcast, but other people have come in and built other apps that are able to seamlessly integrate with the Warpcast experience. And I keep pointing over here. It happens in the form of Actions and also in the form of what I think is their killer feature. It's called Frames, which is the ability to embed an app right into your post. If you're an app builder, think about how hard it is, or an inventor. You got a great invention, you had a great idea, you had a great video, but now you need people to care about it. What are you gonna do? You're gonna put out ads? You're gonna try and go out on the street and hand out pamphlets? No, if you have a product people care about, you can put it in a social feed and now they can interact with it. And adding crypto, they can do things like buy or sell it. They can do things like claim it and own it, verify that they've seen it. You can start to have all kinds of meaningful interactions with users, with customers, with other builders, because there are no fences between you, and it's all right in a social feed. It's, I don't know, Alex, it's nothing short of game changing, right? And we're already seeing people start to sort of copy it.
Yeah, it's really cool. A way to kind of make it a little bit more relatable or understandable too would just be, imagine that a popular app like Clash of Clans. So back in the day when Clash of Clans was first getting started and their game first came out and they had to convince people like, hey, try out this game. Instead of having to share a download link and then send people off platform to go to the app store and download this thing and make an account and do all this stuff, whatever. One of the benefits of Farcaster as a platform is that Supercell, in this case, could build a game and host it in a frame. And then as you're scrolling through the feed here, you encounter their post with their little game in it, and you're just like, oh, cool, let me try this out. And right here on the window, I'm just like, I'm starting to play, mess around, like, okay, this is cool. I want to explore further and go from there. Or if they don't get you, then okay, cool, next. And the whole thing kind of just streamlines it for the person. And we keep coming back to this theme of wanting to see stuff in Web3 that enhances the user experience instead of adding more hurdles and more hoops for all of us to jump through. And this is a cool example of exactly that idea.
Alex, I think that's perfect, because I can't tell you how many times I see an ad on TikTok or Twitter for a game that features a 30-second clip of the gameplay and then prompts me to go to another website. And if only I could play that game myself and in the same little window, sign up right with my profile or claim a free, trial, a free gem, a free whatever, like that. That's what this does. It's huge.
Yeah, and we've seen stuff like this in Web 2 before. So this is the Web 3 version. I'm sure, at some point, maybe you've encountered a playable ad for a game. This is like that, but with all sorts of other things like shopping or watching content or sharing stuff or whatever.
Right, and because it's crypto, that's the key, is you're not having to sign up and reveal your information. Right. You can use this stuff with your keys pretty much anonymously and also accrue the benefits of proving that you did it.
Definitely.
Pretty cool.
I think
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think a worthy addition to this, just because it's starting to gain popularity in other circles and other networks as well. And I'm going to pull this up here really quick.
Yeah, this is exactly where I was going to take it. So good thing.
Right now, very recently, as in the last week or so, Solana introduced a feature very similar to the idea of a frame that they're calling a blink, which is sort of shorthand for blockchain link.
What a great portmanteau.
Works exactly the same way. And you can see these on Twitter. And here is an example of Helios. So Helios is a dev hub that works on the Solana ecosystem. And they have a blink right here, which if I had the Chrome extension enabled and my wallet connected and all of these things, it would look like this, but posted directly in that Twitter feed. So like as I'm scrolling and I see Helios and their new staking thing or whatever, oh, cool. Well, right from here, I can go right ahead and with just a click, I can buy and stake some SOL with them or, enter a custom amount. And so this is just kind of that same thing where we're taking a Web3 thing that normally would have been locked behind connect your wallet and back it up and seed phrase and yada, 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 and all of these different steps right there in front of you, right on the service and the platform that you're already using. So this is just getting started. I'm very excited to see how stuff like this evolves over the next year or so, because I'm sure we're just going to start to see more and more and more of these.
Oh, yeah.
And more people using these. And the coolest part is that you can spin a lot of these up without being a developer. There's a lot of no-code tools that you can use to make stuff like this. So if that's something that you're interested in, let us know down in the comments. And in places like our Discord, we are kind of starting to help walk people through, making some of these. And personally, I'm doing a little bit of experimenting to try to figure out how to make my own. So I'll keep you guys posted on that.
Very cool. Let's walk them through before we take them back to the Discord and give them all the links. Let's walk them through one or two more socials.
Yes.
And let's start with one that integrates with Warpcast. I think we're going to Dracula next. Is that right?
Let's take a look at Dracula.
Look at that beautiful mug, man. You just had me ready. One of the features I'm excited for Dracula to get is when you can choose your own thumbnail like TikTok, so I don't have to.
Yes. No, I completely agree. So Evan, do you want to give us a quick intro on Dracula? I mean, obviously, like you said, if you're familiar with TikTok, you get the idea of Dracula, short form vertical video, quickly shared, via your profile. But
I couldn't say it better than that. That's exactly what I was going to say. And I guess I would just add that, like any new app, there are growing pains. There's no in-app editor. Alex and I would love that. There are no comments yet. We would love that. But some of the things that have us there using this is, first of all, it's integrated with Warpcast and stuff is happening on chain. You can, for example, collect your favorite creators as NFTs, meaning you can buy tokens that represent them. And that benefits the creators. It benefits people who collect them as those creators grow in reputation. The analogy I would use is, imagine if you got to see Taylor Swift at the middle school talent show and you got a token for that. How awesome would that be as part of her story today? It would give even more dimensions, more opportunities for a story that's in demand like Taylor Swift's to be cherished, collected, shared among fans. And because of the form it has, it could create an incentive. First and foremost, obviously, is the monetary incentive. If somebody is as big as Taylor Swift and you got their middle school talent show token, that's like their ultimate rookie card. But that's also, if you have an on-chain relationship because of that, unlike the middle school talent show where Taylor's going to say, well, who was there? I think so-and-so was, or somebody comes up and says, oh, I was there that day. She has an effortless, errorless way to verify who holds those tokens and can instantly reach out to them with a lifetime pass to all her concerts or early releases of her albums or whatever. So Dracula is giving video first creators the kind of tools to start building those kind of truly ownable relationships with their content. And then also the people who care about it. They just recently did an update where they integrated with Zora, which I'll put in the comments or the description. It's like a Instagram, but on chain. So that when you post a video, it's instantly also minted as a token that people can collect for a negligible fee. It's like a little gas fee. Ways to interact, ways to accumulate tokens. And one of the features we didn't touch on, but that you mentioned, and I'd love for you to talk about as we can talk about how these features integrate, is tipping. It gives velocity to currency and gives tokens, which do have a monetary value, but don't have to, a more social function. Can we talk about that a little as we talk about how these integrate?
Sure. Yeah, I think too we can use that to segue into our final example as well.
Totally.
But no, like I mentioned, and let me take us back to Warpcast here really quickly.
Yeah, get us off my face because it's not doing much.
We'll go
But
back.
there's that video shared in Warpcast pretty much with a click because those platforms integrate with each other. I didn't have to download the video from Dracula, go to Warpcast, upload it. It just clicked a button and boom. And I accumulated on-chain benefits for it. I got points that are on-chain for sharing it to another on-chain app. Sorry, Alex.
Which is cool too, because that's a feature that I think a lot of people are used to, especially if you create content more regularly. You're used to the idea of cross-posting. I mean, even just right there native inside of TikTok, right? When I go to post and I hit publish, I can immediately share it also to Instagram or Facebook, kind of right there from the thing. If I'm inside of CapCut doing an edit, I can share it to multiple places at once. So it's cool to start to see that sort of process being added to different Web3 tools, because up until very recently, these have been very cumbersome and clunky to use, which is really cool. And like Evan alluded to as well, if I see this as I'm scrolling and I think, okay, this is cool, I like this, I can't do it right here just because obviously my wallet's not connected. I'm not logged into the platform. I'm just looking at it, but I could pop open the comments on Evan's video here. And because of the way that different tools are integrated right into the platform, I can just type, hey, Evan, I really like this video. Thank you so much for sharing. And just type the amount of the token I would like to tip him with and hit send. And bots that people have built are scanning through, waiting for a comment to be uploaded to the platform. And the second they get the hint that like, hey, so-and-so just said, tip 20 degen or whatever token we're talking about here, the bot instantly recognizes that's cool and transfers. I've authorized now a transfer from my account to Evan's account, and I've tipped him a little bit. And you can kind of go back and forth, and there's different things you can tip and all that sort of stuff. And it's kind of just a neat way that you can show a little bit of appreciation for the creator. And that's a thing that just goes right to Evan, which I think is pretty cool.
Me too. It's a great time to be on the ground floor of something that absolutely, don't just take our word for it, will continue to be an area of focus for big players, not just in blockchain, but in tech generally. Yeah. The value of the internet is in networks, giving people means to express themselves, to build relationships, to do things online. And this is accelerating our ability to do that. So this is a way you can get involved with innovative stuff, like, in blockchain without spending any money. There is a small fee to run Warpcast, but it's, you don't have to spend money to start playing around with this stuff, building relationships and investing in this way.
And when Evan says small fee, $5 a year is the fee that we're talking about. So not terrible. And it means if you're familiar with how Web3 things typically work and you pay gas to facilitate transactions, paying that fee kind of covers you for the year for sending all of these different tweets and comments and, Twitter lookalike actions that you're used to taking. So that's kind of neat. I want to go from this just into our final example as we wrap up here and show you guys one more platform that is a lot newer. It's not totally open and live. They're kind of in beta and they're just barely starting to onboard the first few creators. But this is something called Drip House. And it's very similar, I would say, with a few specific differences. So I will keep similar to Warpcast. Similar, I would say, sort of combines maybe some of the elements between that. I would liken this a little bit more to like an Instagram type of experience where the creator is, posting video or songs or pictures, not so much written stuff. This is more designed for visual media rather than writing in the same way that, you might share on Twitter. But one of the other cool things that you can add here is like a specific collectible that you can make for the people who view your content. And so that's what I'm currently working on getting onboarded as a tester creator to try to mess around with. And so I'll probably ask Kaio politely to whip me up a cool little collectible and we'll share a video and we'll kind of use that as an example. So stay tuned. We'll come back to this one when I've been given a little bit more access. But in the same way that there are, native points and stuff like that on some of the other ones, they have droplets as a currency here. And so every 6 hours, I can click a little claim and I can get a couple free ones. So as you can see, I've done it a couple times over the past couple days, and I've acquired 30. You can see my little claim sheet.
Yeah, what do you use droplets for, Alex?
It's the same kind of thing. So you can do a couple things. You can tip other creators with, and then let me see if I can pull one up here and give you an example. Here's just a random creator that I've grabbed, and they have one drop. It's this, this piece of artwork. Doesn't look like they've done too many of them. And you can claim this, you can mint it, you can buy it, you can acquire it for these droplets. So for what looks like 19 droplets here, I think. Oh, sorry. This one is like, bear with us. This, like I said, this is the newer platform.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. We're figuring it out live. So you can like it. And if you like it, one of your droplets are donated to the creator. And then I think, so this one must already be claimed. But if it was still available to be grabbed, there would be another. Let me see if I can find one of those, because there's kind of a little like purchase or secure interface.
I'm interested to see how that'll work, because Dracula, ironically has blood drip, which is like a non-monetary sort of unit that you can use to tip people. And I find myself being stingy with it. I have plenty. I have hundreds of thousands, but I find myself being a little stingy with it. And I feel like that is almost against the goal of interacting with people in a meaningful way on a social platform. So I'm curious to see how dynamics like this evolve.
Yeah, and I think these are things too, like we said, that we're early. And if that's an opinion that we end up having, this is something that's being built by a friend of mine, who's currently the lead mobile dev over at Drip, that's turning this into the mobile app. Because there's two. There's a desktop version, and then of course there's the mobile version, which is not in production yet, but working on it. But yeah, I couldn't find one that had like an open collectible, but we can share something like that in the Discord later. But it basically, there was just another little option underneath, and it was like, hey, for 100 droplets, you can buy one of these.
Very cool.
So something you can earn. One of the things I always say too, I want there to be a way for a user to like come onto the platform and be valuable and participate and earn the right to do stuff that other people could skip the line for by paying, and then have that thing that you get paid for enrich the lives of the creators who are like, they're putting in the sweat equity, right? So like I can be here every 6 hours and farm droplets, and then I can claim some cool collectibles for free just because I'm here every day checking in and participating, or I can show up and be like, oh, Evan just dropped something that looks really cool. I want to support him. I don't have enough. I can buy it as well. So excited to see how that part expands.
Yeah, very much so. Is it cool with you if we give a final thought on this platform or these platforms, and then I can maybe rapid fire some other socials that people can check out, and we'll get our horses and ponies out of here? Yeah,
I think full send on some honorable mentions and stuff too. I'm feeling pretty well met on the ones that we've covered so far.
Okay, cool. Then check this out. They're all below in the comments. But if you're interested in decentralized social, you want to see Warpcast, you want to see Dracula, you want to see Drip House, you want to see more, then here's a list for you to get you started. Like Alex said, these things are popping up all the time, and I have only got a few. So the first one is Lens Protocol, like Farcaster, has other apps on it like Orb, which is not unlike Warpcast. You can check out Zora, Zora, on the Zora network. Where are my people? Oh, here you are. Unlonely, a streaming app. Farhouse, which is like Twitter Spaces on Farcaster. And that's what I got right now. I know there are others, and I promise we will tell you about them. And if you're thinking to yourself, my God, you guys know a lot about this crypto stuff, this decentralized social stuff. How am I going to learn what you know? How long did it take you to figure this stuff out? I want to assure you anybody can learn this. We are not special. We're just regular guys. And it just takes a little experience. It is helpful to have folks who have been here a little while, who can spot the patterns, who know where to look for scams, how to avoid them. And I want to just personally invite you to take a look at the riseupmorningshow.com, which is where all of our links live, especially if you're seeing us for the first time. We do a live show Monday through Thursday on TikTok. It gets posted here. We share helpful news, commentary, answer your crypto questions, and the show All of our resources are live 24/7 at our Discord community. The invite link is also in the description. It's the kind of place where you can ask a question, share what you know, we learn, grow, and of course, rise up together. So we'd love to see you there. It's totally free to jump in and start building community with us and the rest of our friends.
It is always worth noting, Evan, as you know, absolutely none of this video was sponsored by absolutely any of the things that we talked about, because we just love doing this shit for free. So as we always say, not sponsored, but it should be. So if we talked about you today, wouldn't you like more of this, right? I mean,
let me give one quick final thought to say that one of the cool things, I'm not sponsored by Dracula, but I have earned tokens for creating on Dracula that outpaced my earnings from TikTok. So the opportunities are there for sure for people.
For sure.
Would love to have a sponsorship by any and all of these companies, and our socials on those platforms and all the other platforms are also below. So we're easy to find, guys. No excuses.
No, just not sponsored, but it could be. Know that anything that we talk about here on this channel, we talk about because we think is cool, and no other reasons. The day that we finally do get sponsored to do this, we will very excitedly let you guys know.
Yeah.
So if you've got a cool thing that you want to see get our opinion on, put in front of us. If you're working on a cool social media Web3 related protocol, like Evan mentioned, reach out, let us know. We would love to take a look at it. If it's a place for people to create content, hey, we make quite a bit of content, and we would love to give you a test drive and kind of come over there and see how it see what's what, offer some opinions, some feedback. As experienced content creators, so just say the word. We are easy to find.
There's only one thing left to say, which is give us a follow, like this video, leave us any questions in the comments, and until next time, my friends, rise up.